Well, hi there. My name is Doc Livingston with eXp Realty and Team Home Hunters BC. Welcome again to Coffee Talk with Doc. A special guest today, Gloria Cooper, mortgage specialist with DLC Fanson Capital Mortgage. Welcome, Gloria.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, Gloria, I really appreciate you coming out today. We want to talk a little bit about credit scores.
Yes.
And things like that, and how to qualify for mortgages and so on. So what is a good credit score?
Well, a good credit score, the maximum you can have is 900. I like to see a credit score over 680, preferably in the 700s. If you can achieve a score in the 800s, that's excellent.
The 680, is that kind of the minimum that you would want to have to be able to qualify for a really good rate mortgage?
680 is a bit of a bar for some lenders, and it can impact the ratios as to how much you can qualify for.
Okay, so how do I go about finding out what my score actually is?
I recommend to all my clients that they download 2 apps on their phone. One of them is Credit Karma. Credit Karma is with TransUnion, and the other one is Borrowell, and Borrowell is with Equifax.
Okay.
When they download those apps, they'll be able to see their score. It's updated every week, and they'll also be able to see their full history and everything that is recorded on their credit bureau.
So I get this credit bureau in front of me, I get the report. Now, what should I be looking for?
The first thing you want to look for is to make sure everything is accurate. You want to make sure that there is no outstanding collection item. Many times I find clients will have a small collection item that they didn't even know existed. They might have moved or canceled a credit card and an annual fee had gone through that they're unaware of. The lender's not able to contact them because they don't have the correct address, and then it falls to collections. And it can be $20.
Really?
Yes, and that can have a great impact on their score. The other thing they want to look for is to make sure that all the active lines on their credit bureau, which is their credit cards, their loans, their lines of credits, are accurate. And what I mean by accurate is if you canceled a Sears card, you want to make sure that it says that it's closed, canceled, the balance is 0. Many times I'll find, again, you cancel a credit card, but an annual fee went through. So it may say closed, but it'll still say that it has a balance of $25. You want to get those things cleared up.
Well, that's good. And I want you to know that I did take your advice. And I did go and get a report.
Oh, great.
And it was quite interesting, actually. I hadn't done it for a long time, and it was really good to see. I was hoping that nobody had used my credit somewhere else other than me, of course.
Yes.
And no, everything was good.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
I've heard stories where it wasn't.
Yes, you can also see who has looked at your credit bureau as well. And sometimes you'll find out, wow, I didn't know that they pulled my bureau.
Okay, so, just out of curiosity, now, if my score is, say, 650 or something, and it's just sort of pretty edgy, so what can I do to bring that score up?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that nobody pulls your credit bureau. So again, when I meet with my clients, I ask them to download these apps because I want to see where they are out without impacting their score. It's free. And when you download the app and look at your own score, it doesn't take points away. Whereas if I do an application and I pull your credit bureau, it does. So first we want to look at that. Things that you want to make sure is always make your payments on time. It doesn't matter if it's the minimum amount or a larger amount, just make sure you make your payments on time before the due date. That, I realize life happens, but that can impact your score. And then there's one that a lot of people don't know about. It's the 50% rule. So let's say the credit limit on your Visa is $10,000. You want to make sure your balance is always below $5,000. If it goes over $5,000, you're over 50% of your limit, and the credit bureau can take points away from your score. So I run into clients that don't like debt. They'll have a small credit card of, say, just a $2,500 limit, but they use it for groceries, gas, to automatically pay their cell phone bills, all that sort of thing. And in a month, they can rack it up to $2,000, pay it off in full. They never pay a cent in interest. They think that their credit bureaus are very strong, and they're actually not, because they're constantly going over that 50% limit.
So they'd be better off to have a $5,000 limit.
Exactly. But then again, if you're the type that spends, then you don't want to, have a $5,000 limit, and now you're at 4,500. Well, let's bump that up to 10. Well, now I'm at 8,500. You don't want to do that. I don't recommend that. But the 50% limit, a lot of people are not aware of that.
So it's kind of the devil if you do or devil if you don't. You know, if you normally spend $2,000 or $2,500 a month on groceries and all other things, so if you're bringing it up to $5,000, do most people all of a sudden bring their limit up to their spend up to $4,000?
That can happen. It can happen. But if you're the type of person, there's a lot out there who pay their credit cards off in full every month. My recommendation is instead of doing it once a month, do it more frequently. Go online, look at your credit card balance, and just do more frequent payments to keep it below the 50% limit.
Okay, well that makes sense. You know, that really does. That makes a lot of sense. So, you know, does your credit score really make that much of a difference when you're looking for a mortgage?
It does, actually. There are A lenders that have a minimum score requirement. There are some B lenders that are a little more flexible. Even private lenders can look at your score. They're much more flexible, but they do have some standards for themselves as well. Where I find it's most common is the lower the score, the tighter the restrictions on financing, especially if you're dealing with high ratio mortgages and CMHC. About 680 is the limit for CMHC. If your score is over 680, then they will allow you to have a ratio of what's called 39-44. 39 is the housing expense on the property you're buying. 44% of your monthly income is your housing expense, plus any car payments, credit card payments, that sort of thing. If your score is below 680, then it's 35-42. So your housing expense cannot exceed 35% of your monthly income, and your total debts cannot exceed 42. That can make a difference in your purchase price. And the other thing is they're also looking at both of you. So if you have really good credit and I don't, they're going to look at the lower of, is what they'll do. So you want to try, that's why I say you want to be over 680, and I don't want to pull your score and possibly impact it without knowing if you're right close to that amount on when your app, when you look at Credit Karma or Borrowell, then I'm going to say, oh, let's hold on a second. Let's see if we can just bump that score a little bit higher before I pull it and bring that score down. Because I would hate to put you at 679.
I'd hate it if you did that too.
Yes.
You know, I think. So there you have it. This is Doc Livingston. Thanks again for joining us on Coffee Talk with Doc, with my special guest, Gloria Cooper, mortgage specialist with Dominion Lending, Franson
Capital Mortgages.